Casual Crafting welcomes you to an unboxing and review of the VF-0S Phoenix Roy Fokker used with QF-2200D-B Ghost. Phew, that's quite a mouthful of a name. This is a toy from the Bandai High Metal R series. The VF-0S is from the Macross franchise, specifically the Macross Zero series. Before I get into the toy review, I want to talk about Macross Zero to give some context to this toy. Macross Zero is a prequel to the original Macross. The story covers the time when the transformable fighter aircraft, called variable fighters, that's where the VF comes from, were being developed. The animation in Macross Zero is very high quality with exciting action scenes. If you are familiar with Macross, you will know that Macross must have transforming mecha, romance, and music. Macross Zero takes place on a South Pacific Mayan island where you have a variable fighter pilot romancing a Mayan princess. Mayan island? Princess? I thought the Mayans were from South America. Okay, so I think these are people called Mayans, but not the Mayans we know about from history. So we have a so-called Mayan princess in a Japanese anime who sings French songs that have special powers, and is a living component of a super powerful alien mecha. I recommend that you look up the song Arkan. I do find it very beautiful. Flying fish have a symbolic significance in this anime. And so who is this Roy Fokker that's part of the toy's name? So Roy Fokker is a character from the original Macross series, and this provides backstory for his character. Roy is an American squadron commander flying the prototype VF-0 Phoenix variable fighter. His squadron's planes carry the VF-84 insignia of the Skull and Crossbones. Roy's VF-0S gets 2 head-mounted lasers, while the standard VF-0 has only 1 head-mounted laser. The VF-0, like all Macross transforming fighters, have 3 configurations. They are the Fighter, Battroid, and that's the robot form, and Gerwalk, which is an in-between transformation. A fighter with arms and legs. Macross Zero further advanced the tactics and utility of these different operating modes. And the Ghost is a drone, and in the anime was used as a booster to make the VF-0 fly faster. Well, that's it. It's to go vroom! This toy brings into physical form the VF-0S with the Ghost drone. The Ghost QF-2200D-B variant acts as a booster for the VF-0. It is used in the final fast-paced combat scenes of Macross Zero. In the future Macross timeline, the Ghost will become a series of advanced combat drones. Taking a look at the box, here is the front side with very nice artwork of the toy and a headshot of Roy Fokker. This artwork is taken after images from the anime. I think it looks pretty good. Tilting the box away from me, the bottom side has the toy's name and a UN Spacey logo. Notice that there is a bulge on this side. I will come back to this later. Now tilting the box towards me, the top has a high contrast printing of the name in white on black background. The right side has artwork showing the back of the VF-0 in Battroid mode, which is the name of the robot form in Macross. The left side has artwork of the VF-0 in Battroid mode from the front side. Finally, here is the back side, the side with a cutout where you can see the toy in robot form. There are photos of the toy in its various transformations. A large label from the Hong Kong distributor had covered up part of the artwork. I carefully removed it with the help of a hairdryer. So, how did I end up with this toy? As you know, The casual crafter usually puts together model kits. This is the first time I have purchased a high-grade toy. The reason is that there are no truly transforming Macross model kits out there. Even though transforming planes of the Macross genre have been around for a long time, it has not been the same for model kits. I have various so-called parts formation Macross kits for planes from other Macross series, but none from the era of the original Macross. The VF-0 and VF-1 look familiar, both based off the F-14. This kit showed up as a pre-order on Amazon and AliExpress for around $180. With the help of coupons, I was able to get it from AliExpress for about $150. $150 puts it in the price range of high-end model kits. In this case, I get the model fully assembled in a more robust build, professionally painted, and with a good amount of accessories. Interestingly, the VF-0 High Metal R toy alone sells for more than this toy, which includes more accessories. However, there is a problem with buying expensive toys from AliExpress. AliExpress ships stuff in lousy packaging. The toy came in a simple, unpadded plastic pouch. The toy was enclosed in a styrofoam box for protection. Well, you would think the styrofoam box would provide protection, but no. That box is made of styrofoam pieces taped together and does not have much mechanical strength at all. When this pouch gets tossed in with other cargo, it is easily compressed with the risk of being crushed. In fact, this toy did experience some minor crushing. Look at how the styrofoam was broken on that side. This resulted in that bulge on the bottom side of the box and a slight deformation of the plastic tray. Thank goodness the toy wasn't damaged any further. Okay, so let's open it up. I am opening the box with the black side facing up. Here we go, 50% off market value, just like that. There's a smaller tray resting behind the main tray. The toy also contains a poster printed on cardboard and an instruction sheet. The small tray contains what looks like a stand and wings. I am taking off the plastic cover so that we can take a closer look at it. A point of caution is to be careful when separating the plastic tray. Parts may pop right out and disappear who knows where. At the top from left to right, there are 3 landing gears, 4 pairs of hands, 2 long pitot tubes, a very small pitot tube, and a pilot. The next row has wings, 2 head lasers, cover plates, engine fans, and missile pods surrounding the Ghost. The bottom row has parts for the stand, booster attachments for the legs, more missile pods, and the gun pod. The VF-0 itself takes up the right end of the tray. The instruction sheet provides an inventory of all the accessories. With the magic of Google Translate, I am happy to provide you with scans of the original Japanese manual and an English translated version too. I hope Google Translate will be reliable for this. I will be showing instructions from the manual along the way. I am glad to share in this fun together with you. Subscribe to Laser Muse and turn on notifications so you know what I am up to. Help me reach the 500 subscriber milestone. I have removed the toy in Battroid mode, and that's the robot form, from the tray with some of the accessories. First time handling this kind of toy, I'm nervous about damaging it, so I am resting it on a piece of foam. I am going to take a good look at the manual before I begin. To begin, I would like to look at the stand and put it together. The stand base looks to be a large brown transparent plastic. It has a nice white print of the QF-2200 toy's name with a skull and crossbones. There's a large post and a thin extension piece. There's a clear plastic piece that fits to the Battroid as a stand attachment. The base post has ratchet-like stage positions that you move through, hearing the clicks as you pass through each position. The peg at the bottom of the post is round, but it fits into a hex-shaped hole in the base. I don't know the reasoning behind this round peg in a hex hole design. While the post can be rotated, I suggest to keep it oriented lengthwise along the base for balancing. The attachment points at the base of the post are secured by a screw. These screws can be loosened to adjust the angle of the post. This is a view of the toy out of the tray. There is a plastic packaging shield around the cockpit which I will remove. The back of the toy has the tail fins folded and laying flat along the plane of the body. The tail fins overlap in a way that lock them in place. Looks like you'll need some pressure to slightly bend a fin to let the other fin pass it. Opening up the engine thrust nozzles, you can see a detailed turbine engine pattern. That looks like thrust-vectored nozzles from today's modern combat aircraft. The nozzles move with an assuring firmness, and the toy stands well in Battroid mode. I am pressing the toy against the table to adjust the thruster feet flat on the table. There, it stands! To put the toy fully in Battroid mode, I need to fold up the part with the tail fin. The hinge has multiple segments and I need to fold the hinge correctly to close the gap between the tail fin segment and the back of the toy. When folded correctly, the tail fin part should rest flat against the back of the toy. I am now going to fix on the small pitot tube on the nose of the cockpit. It is just a small part, hard to handle and so easy to drop and lose. I will use tweezers to help handle it. So easy for that pitot tube piece to pop out of the tweezers and fly off into the unknown. Finally got it on, and using the back of my brush to press it firmly into place. Back to using the tweezers to adjust the pitot tube to be aligned along the axis of the cockpit part. Finally done with the pitot tube. Phew! Now, I will attach the wings. I will choose the cross wing attachment. The paired wing set has black highlights, UN Spacey logo, and colored dots at the end of the wing representing aviation lights. It slides into these slots along the side of the body. The wing part is being blocked by the tail fin segment. I had to pull up the tail fin slightly to let the wing pass beneath it. I have to be careful not to scratch the parts against each other. There is a tail hook attached to the tail fin part. The instructions say to pull up the tail hook to reveal a slot and use an accessory to push out the rockets stored in the tail fin part. The rocket part is not moving. I am concerned about how much force to use on this. Drop that tool accessory thing. That's it. I will use this clamping tool to pull out the engine part instead. The tool is made of metal and I hope I'm not scratching the part. In any case, I got the rockets extended in the tail fin part. Now the toy is fully in the Battroid configuration. Let's look at the articulation of the toy. The shoulders can move 360 degrees around its joint. However, you have to move it so as to avoid the back wing. The shoulder joint is made of metal. Below the shoulder, the arm can be rotated 360 degrees also. That's it, that would be some unnatural posing. This freedom of movement should help with the transformations. The elbow joint is also made of metal and has a good range of motion. The legs at the hip, where the jet intakes are restricted by the wing part behind. The hip can still move in a decent amount before it hits the wing. The knee joint has a good range of movement expected of a knee. The joints appear to be plastic. I do not see any visible metal parts. The joints all move firmly. I will equip the Battroid with its gun. One of the hand pads is designed to hold the gun port in a finger off the trigger position. This weapon is described as a 3-barreled 35mm Gatling gun. The gun port is symmetrical with UN Spacey printed on both sides. This is how the gun port fits into the gun hand. To install this hand, the pre-installed fist has to be removed. It is a pretty tight fit to pull off the fist. The hands are connected tightly by a simple plastic ball joint. Makes me nervous applying the pressure to remove and install the gun hand. The head had to be tilted up a bit to allow it to look right and left. Otherwise, it would be constrained by the shoulder structures around it. The head lasers can be rotated carefully. The guns appear fragile. The toy included 2 replacement guns, so it looks like there is some expectation that the head guns may be broken or lost. Well, there it is, in a kind of action pose. I will put the Battroid on the included stand. Some adjustments to the posts. This transparent mounting attachment piece goes between the legs. The legs have to be pulled apart slightly to let the attachment piece fit. I have to remove the top of the post to reveal the peg that fits into the mounting attachment accessory. It is good to have a precision screwdriver set to find an appropriate bit to adjust the stand screws. Now, time to get that peg on the mounting accessory into the hole on the post. Now let me get the toy fully into frame. Some adjustments to make sure the toy is mounted securely. I certainly don't want it accidentally falling off the stand and getting damaged. The attachment accessory is large and it is visible from the front, even though it is transparent. I am going to give it a spin around so that we can see it from all sides. The Bandai Macross High Metal R series is supposed to be built to a 1/100 scale. This is the same scale as the Bandai high-grade models. Let's see how the size of the VF-0S compares to the high-grade YF-21. The VF-0S stands taller. Should I include the yellow fin of the YF-21 and the hit lasers of the VF-0S? Regardless, the VF-0S certainly is taller. And here is a view of them off their stands. And this is a back-to-back view. The VF-0S height is 155mm up to the top of the head, 170mm if you include the head lasers pointing up. The YF-21 stands at 143mm, 155mm if including the head fin. Now, of course, these measurements may vary based on the leg position and the body posture, but that's about how they stand. Interestingly, the Macross fandom site lists the VF-0 height at 14 meters and the YF-21 at 15.5 meters. Is the scale not what I thought it was? Maybe the models are posed in a way that do not accurately reflect the full height. Oh well. Let's put on the Armour and Ghost parts. Those are the parts that set it apart from the basic VF-0 toy. The manual puts the Armour and Ghost parts on in the VF-0 fighter configuration. I will adapt the procedure for the current Battroid configuration. First, I will swap the cross wing part with the individual wing parts. There are two sets of wings included with the toy. I will be using the wings that are packaged with the stand base. Those wings have mounting points for accessories. The right wing, now the left wing, the wings move nicely on their pivot points. legs have 2 slots for the leg booster. The leg boosters snap on nicely. Give them a good press to seat them well. That's how it looks with the mounted leg boosters. I am taking off a glove as I will be using my fingernail to pry off a part from the toy. This replaces a part on the back of the fuselage with a part with a slot for accessories. Prying off the part reveals 2 holes where the part plugs into. This part is used to attach a missile launcher and to support the Ghost drone. I have to fold down the tail section into the position like how the toy was packaged in the box. I push the rocket nozzles back inside the tail part. Can't push it well with my thumb. I am going to push it with a tool. Now carefully move the tail section down. That hinge is quite tricky to work with indeed. Now that I have the tail down, I unfold the tail fins. Got to flex the tail fins a bit so that the left fin can get past the right fin. The Ghost drone mounts on the back. Let's take a good look at the Ghost. Nice details on the engine nozzle. With the Ghost mounted, the tail section is in a position where the nose cannot attach well to the connection point on the body. There is a transparent piece that you can fit over that connection point to act as a support for the nose. Put the part in, taking note of the proper orientation, and rest the nose against it. There is nothing that secures the nose in place. Alright, let's see where the Ghost attaches to the back of the Battroid. There are slots in the inside of the Ghost wings where the tail fins slide into. Try to be careful not to scratch the Ghost or the tail fins as I slide the Ghost back around the tail fins. There are two pairs of mount points where the Ghost is secured to the back. Getting the front mount point secured in those back parts that I installed earlier may be tricky. The back part may pop off from the forces applied from the Ghost mount. A closer look at the front attachment point for the Ghost. Good, I got the Ghost in place. Finally, I attached the missile accessories. I attached what Google translated as a missile launcher to the back part beside the Ghost. The wing inboard item is Google translated as a missile pod, while the outboard item is a missile launcher. What is the difference between pod and launcher? No idea. The missile pod looks more like a fuel tank to me. I could not tell from the enemy how the so-called missile pod was used. The missile launcher did have missiles in them, so I guess that was clear. Here we have it, the fully completed and assembled VF-0S with Ghost. What do you think about the VF-0S with Ghost? I think it is a good representation of the enemy mecha. I think the main toy itself and the accessories all look nice enough. As a modeler, I see a lot of places where I would have panel lined the parts. Other versions of Macross toys have panel lining effects. Not this one though. I suppose it is a matter of taste. Do you like extensive panel lining? I am not going to do additional panel lining to this toy for now. It is nice that a stand was included and that stand was not simply a basic black. One disappointment I have is that there does not seem to be a way to mount the VF-Zero in Battroid mode. So that means it will generally be limited to a basic standing pose, and it will not be so easy to photograph. Relative to the price of other such toys, I think I'm happy with the purchase. I will follow up on this with a video on the transformations and see how the toy looks in both Gawok and Fighter modes. What do you think about the VF-Zero with Ghost? Leave a comment below. I look forward to you joining me on the next video.